Imagine pulling a perfectly healthy, incredibly strong human being from 40,000 years ago and dropping them directly into the center of Times Square in New York City. What would actually happen? Most people assume it would be a funny, confusing experience. We picture a caveman marveling at the giant screens, being fascinated by cars, and trying to hunt a pigeon. But evolutionary biology tells a completely different, horrifying story. If you placed a prehistoric apex predator into a modern American metropolis, they would not be fascinated. They would instantly experience the most violent psychological and biological collapse imaginable. The modern city is not a paradise of convenience. To a brain that evolved on the wild savanna, it is an absolute nightmare of sensory overload, biological superstimuli, and social terror. Today, we are going to explore exactly why an ancient human would rapidly break down in a modern city, and uncover the terrifying truth about the invisible cage we all live in today. And if you are obsessed with discovering the shocking evolutionary software still running inside your own mind, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. We decode the darkest biological secrets of the human race every single week, and you absolutely do not want to miss the mysteries we uncover next. To understand the immediate terror of the modern city, you have to understand how an ancient human processes the world. For hundreds of thousands of years, the human brain was engineered for extreme quiet. In the prehistoric wilderness, sudden noise meant immediate danger. A snapping twig, a sudden roar, or a loud crash was the biological alarm for a predator attack. Your amygdala, the fear center of the brain, would instantly flood your body with adrenaline, preparing you to fight for your life or sprint away at maximum speed. Now, place that finely tuned survival machine onto an American city sidewalk. A police siren wails at 120 decibels. A subway train screeches violently beneath the pavement. Neon lights flash in unnatural, blinding colors that do not exist anywhere in the natural world. Hundreds of cars blast their horns simultaneously. To the ancient brain, this is not just noise. It is an apocalyptic threat. The amygdala would instantly misinterpret the city as an environment filled with thousands of massive, roaring monsters. The ancient human would suffer a massive, paralyzing panic attack within the first 60 seconds. Their heart rate would spike dangerously high, their cortisol levels would shatter biological limits, and they would desperately seek a dark, quiet place to hide. Their sensory processing system would simply crash. But let's assume they survive the initial shock. Let's assume they find a quiet alleyway and calm down. Very soon, the most powerful drive in human biology will take over: hunger. They need calories. But the food in a modern American city would be the fastest and deadliest trap of all. In the prehistoric world, finding sugar and fat was incredibly rare and required massive physical effort. If you found a beehive full of honey, your brain rewarded you with a massive surge of dopamine, telling you to eat as much of it as possible to survive the coming winter. We evolved a biological software that screams at us to devour high-calorie foods whenever we find them. Now, introduce this ancient hunter to a modern fast food burger, a large fry, and a massive cup of soda. These foods are biologically engineered in laboratories to be superstimuli. A single meal contains more refined sugar, salt, and fat than an ancient human would consume in an entire month. When the prehistoric human takes a bite, their brain will literally explode with dopamine. It would hit their nervous system with the exact same ferocity as a highly addictive narcotic drug. They would not be able to stop eating. Because their microbiome is perfectly adapted to wild meat, roots, and high-fiber plants, this massive influx of processed carbohydrates and seed oils would violently disrupt their digestive system. Their pancreas, having never experienced this level of pure glucose, would go into shock, desperately pumping out insulin. Within a matter of weeks, the fittest, strongest hunter on the planet would become violently ill, lethargic, and deeply addicted to the chemical rush of modern processed food. The city wouldn't need to hunt them down, it would simply feed them to death. If realizing that modern convenience is actually a biological weapon designed to hack your ancient brain is completely changing how you see the world, take 1 second to subscribe to the channel. Our community is uncovering the brutal, brilliant realities of human evolution every week, and we want you surviving the modern world with us. But the physical destruction of the ancient human is nothing compared to the psychological torture they would endure. Human beings are deeply social creatures. We survived the Ice Age because we lived in tight-knit tribes of about 50 to 150 people. In evolutionary psychology, this is known as Dunbar's number. It is the maximum number of people that the human brain can truly know, trust, and care about. Every single face in a prehistoric tribe meant something. You knew who was a friend, who was an enemy, who owed you a debt, and who would protect your back in a fight. Now, imagine walking out of an apartment building in Chicago or Los Angeles. You are instantly surrounded by thousands of strangers. In a single day of walking through the city, you will see more human faces than your prehistoric ancestors saw in their entire lifetimes. To the ancient brain, a stranger is a potential threat. You must analyze them, calculate their intentions, and prepare for conflict. But in a city, there are too many faces. The brain's threat detection software is completely overwhelmed. The ancient human is surrounded by millions of people, yet they do not belong to a single tribe. No one knows their name. No one cares if they are hungry. No one will protect them if they fall asleep. This causes a terrifying psychological phenomenon, absolute isolation in the middle of a massive crowd. The ancient brain requires deep, meaningful community to feel safe. Without a tribe, the brain assumes it has been exiled. And in the wild, exile means death. The ancient human would fall into a deep, inescapable depression. They would feel a crushing, primal loneliness that modern psychology is only just beginning to understand. They would have no purpose. In the wild, every action has immediate meaning. You hunt, you eat, you build a fire, you survive. But in the city, survival is abstracted. You must sit in an artificial box, staring at a glowing screen for 8 hours a day, just to receive an invisible digital number in a bank account, which you then trade for plastic-wrapped meat at a glowing supermarket. The ancient human would completely lose their mind trying to understand why they are trading the limited hours of their life for something they cannot touch, taste, or feel. So, could an ancient human survive a modern American city? Biologically, maybe for a little while. But psychologically, their soul would be crushed under the weight of concrete, artificial light, and infinite loneliness. But here is the most terrifying plot twist in the history of human evolution. We don't actually need to run this experiment. We don't need a time machine to see what happens when you put a caveman in a modern city. Because the ancient human in this story is you. Your brain has not significantly changed in 40,000 years. You are running prehistoric software in a hypermodern world. The overwhelming anxiety you feel when your phone constantly buzzes is your amygdala misfiring. The struggle you have with your diet is your prehistoric brain falling for a modern chemical trap. The deep loneliness and depression you feel, even when you have thousands of followers on social media, is your biological need for a real, physical tribe. We look at our skyscrapers, our fast cars, and our digital networks, and we call it progress. But biologically, we are still wild animals walking around in an incredibly advanced, highly polished zoo. We built the modern city, but we forgot to upgrade ourselves to live in it. Thank you for exploring the dark, biological mismatch of the modern world with us today. If this video completely shattered the way you view your city, your anxiety, and your own mind, prove it by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like. We are decoding the raw, evolutionary traps that history tried to bury every single week, and we want you right here in our tribe. Until next time, respect your history, recognize the cage you live in, and never forget the wild human hiding inside you.